Basically, since it came out, I basically got horror movie of the year by all the review sites. But basically, what they all said is there's this huge twist, and then I stopped. I was like, I feel like most of the reviews wanted to tell you, which now I'm going to do. We're going to have a review.
Spoiler alert. But what's movie?
Barbarian.
Oh, the Barbarian.
Yeah, I think it's just Barbarian.
Just Barbarian?
Right.
Sure.
So, I love the film, though in all fairness, I was watching a completely different movie than reality. And then, when I talked to you afterwards, you saw the same film I did, and then we were like, but I have questions. And then we went to, Google Answers, and then they're like, oh yeah, you were way the fuck off.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they have it looks like a cut scene.
Right.
So they made it, the cinematography of it makes it look like a cut scene, but it's actually a memory scene.
Right, it's a flashback.
Right, so the flashback, but it is so not clear that it's a flashback. And so, at the end of the movie, we're like, is this leading up to a sequel? Who's this character that we didn't get closure on? They just came in and did some really interesting things that could or couldn't have
been related.
That was weird.
Because it takes place, I would imagine, in the 70s by the cars, from the nature of the flashback.
Right.
But the problem is Detroit in and of itself is so run down, and there's so many old cars and old vehicles, it's just a down-run thing where there's not a lot of new things, that when you actually look at the rest of the film, it doesn't look a lot different.
Well, I mean, to be fair, would have keyed me in more that it was a memory and not a flashback, is if it had been more pointed at either signs, addresses, or company logos in showing, this is the new version from, let's say, the 70s.
Right.
And this is what it looks like now, current day.
Or just like a thing, 1970, whatever.
I mean, if you want to be super clear, you could just print it on the screen. But, they even tried to show the neighborhood. But the neighborhood was so drastically different that without actually, zooming in on an address or a street sign, it just looks like a suburban... a suburban neighborhood.
Right.
And even then, if you think about it, maybe the dress and maybe the cars were, 70s-ish.
Sure.
But, by and large, the flashback scene was mostly men.
Sure.
And, let's be honest, men's fashion is...
Jeans and a t-shirt, yeah.
Jeans and a t-shirt, khakis and a button-down.
Right.
So, trying to get somebody to place khakis and a button-down or jeans and a t-shirt from the 70s. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, because, here's the thing, is that I feel like the film was generally, up until the third act, which we're going to get to in detail, because we both had problems with that, I thought it was scarier happening in the modern day. So, his neighborhood that he's in is nicer than the one that we see in the present day. Where we have the whatever. But that, to me, when I was watching it the first time through, the information I was gathering from that scene is that it's a nicer neighborhood in another part of town. Which would indicate, it's obvious that the guy is... involved in this plot, that we don't know the tunnel, how long it is, where it goes, the idea that it can connect different houses and that there are, people contributing to said network of evildoers that's kind of crazy is way scarier to me. And it almost became scarier to me when I didn't realize what this guy's place was, that there could be a sequel where they, tell the involvement, because obviously he's up to no good, sneaking in windows, doing all of the, nefarious things, and there's a little bit of a hint that one of the characters says, oh, he, captured all of these women, or so-and-so captured all these women so long ago, and, but it's really hard to take that one-off line, the montage of this guy up to no good, obviously, and a sick guy in a bed, who looks nothing like the guy who's running around. Yeah,
again, a cut to... Because he was wearing... I say Ed, but as in the, General Ed.
Right.
Like, so he's wearing, like, a jumpsuit with the Ed moniker.
Which also hasn't changed in 40, 50 years.
Which, again, yeah, exactly. But even a cut to that. So, like, if he was in bed wearing the Ed jumpsuit, you know what I mean? That even could have helped. But I want to say he was just, like, in bed clothes. Like, he was just in bed rags.
Right.
Like, it wasn't even, I wouldn't even say really pajamas or an outfit. Like, he just looked like he was in rags.
Yeah, just an old man. And I mean, maybe it was the same actor, but they didn't do a good enough job, like, cluing in, like, on a ring that, like, he's still wearing, or, like, anything.
Yeah, because he doesn't even have dialogue, the old man.
I think he says, like, one word or something, but, like, he's obviously struggling, and, like, you're right, there's no dialogue, there's no nothing. So I felt like, you know, I think the writer or the director has said, one, there will be no sequels, and two, that was the guy in the bed is that.
Yeah, it is the memory.
But since it's not, like, in the film itself, and it's not generally stated, in my version of the film, which is way more interesting, that guy exists out there, and that tunnel just goes on forever.
Right. Yeah, so, like, well, there could have been 2 endings to that film that I feel like would have made it much more scary, which is, so...
Before we get on, like, you're going to talk about Mama now, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, well, I was going to say, so before the first, like, hard cut to the, like, I'll say Malibu scene.
Sure.
Is where the, I guess, Mama, right? Or the director actually calls it the mother.
Sure.
So the mother comes out and it just does a hard cut to the Malibu scene.
Sure.
So to me, a much scarier ending would have just been a repeat of that ending. So it would have almost been 2 different short films that had the same ending. Does that make sense?
How so?
So the Malibu guy goes to the house, right? And then if he goes down the tunnel,
it's the same.
It's the same cut ending where as soon as Mama comes out or the mother,
I don't like that ending nearly as much. So I feel like before we get into the ending, I kind of want to get into the director's intentions, because, like, his whole thing is that men and women see danger in life differently based upon, like, how we deal with threats and potential dangers. So the film starts out with these 2 people, and they are double booked at, like, an Airbnb type thing. I think it's not an Airbnb; it's like an Airbnb adjacent. I think they specifically didn't say Airbnb, so they would get sued by Airbnb. Sure. But, you know, I think it's like the film version of Airbnb. But, like, they mentioned Airbnb, but, like, no, it was a different app. Like, okay, fine. But anyways, they both booked the same house for the same night. So the woman comes up and is like, hey, I booked here. And the guy's like, so did I. Why, you know, what makes you so special? He's like, why don't you just come in and sleep on the couch?
Right.
So, or, excuse me, he's going to sleep on the couch and give her the bed. So, you know, it's raining, it's Detroit, there's no way she's going to get another hotel, everything's booked because there was some sort of convention in town. Right.
It makes a pretty good, like, ploy or argument for why she really has to stay.
Right.
Like, bad weather, it's dark, it's late, she's tired.
It's just easier to just give it and stay. Which, I think there were supposed to be subtle hints that he was rapey or potentially a threat, even though ends up he's not.
Right.
Which I kind of get, like, I mean, but I also feel like in that situation, he's, you know, as the male in that situation, I feel like there's a different realm of threats. Like this, I feel like the notion that men are just like, yeah, whatever, fuck it, is a little not true, because, like, I feel like having a woman share your space, you know, if you don't lock the door and she walks in, like, there's, like, a level of allegation that can happen where you will get no say.
Sure.
You know, and because we've created this environment where it's all about how she feels or how, like, she, you know, interpreted something.
Sure.
You know,
well, he makes a comment about it, because he said, well, I poured you a drink, and I totally get why you don't want to drink it, because you didn't see me pour it, so I'm not trying to roofie you. Like, he makes a couple of comments on, like, hey,
right,
like, I'm not trying to, force you to do anything. Like, don't think that I'm whatever because you didn't see me pour it.
Sure.
I'll even open this new bottle.
Sure.
And you can watch me pour it if you want to.
Sure. I mean, my point is like when you have weapons in the mix, the characteristics between male and female go away. Like, I don't care if you have like whoever you think is the ultimate male, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s.
Sure.
And little old granny with a gun. Right. Little old granny with a gun is going to shoot him dead. Yeah. Like, so I feel like in these kind of situations when they make this thing, like the answer I always give is like, just have a gun or a knife or whatever. Like, sure. That's like the first place my mind goes. But second off is there's, a fair amount of tension, and I like the misdirect there because like you're thinking it's between those two, and like I knew there was a twist coming, so I kind of feel like the obvious thing isn't going to be the twist. Like the obvious thing isn't going to be like, and he's really a serial killer, rapist, whatever, scumbag. So like, but then she gets locked into the basement, and she finds, basically like there's a hidden door, and she goes in, and there's a room that just is wrong. Like, it looks like there was somebody tied to a bed for too long. There's like bodily fluid stains all over the mattress, and a video camera in the room. Which also, like from a technical, practical standpoint, doesn't make sense because if you have in a bucket's never a good thing. Yeah. But from a practical standpoint, like if you are leaving someone to live in a room where there's a bucket, why would you leave them an expensive video equipment that they can bash? Like typically in those situations, the camera's hidden. Yeah, well, it's hidden, or it's like there's a hole that the camera's on the other side of. Like normally the camera isn't in there. Like that kind of killed my believability. Like this might just be a weird storage room, but also it's hidden, so weird rape room. Like not a good sign. So the girl finds rape room, and right about that time, the other guy comes back and it's like, hey, let me out. And like she's screaming, hey, let's go. And the guy has the dumbest reaction.
He really does, because he makes this ploy like if they're best friends. Right. Like, that to me was like very, just kind of like, what? Like, if I don't know you, if I've literally only known you for 12 hours. Right. Even if I spent the night talking to you. Right. I'm like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. You do you. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, from the girl's perspective, but even the guy. Like, here's the thing. Like, let's say I don't know you and we're a stranger and you come with me and you're like, there's a weird rape room downstairs. Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, let's get out of here. And then, like, I just can't imagine being like, well, I didn't see it, so I need to see the rape room. Like, no, because here's the thing. Like, the rape room belongs to someone that's not us. Right. Like, they don't... There might be security, like there might be another hidden camera, and I don't want my face on the hidden camera. Sure. So like some cartel bullshit.
Well, the other thing that I think that it kind of like alluded to was the whole like women are crazy. Because he does give her the kind of like, you are overreacting, it's fine, are you sure you saw what you saw? Like he kind of gave her the like, you're overreacting, sweetheart, it's fine, it's not really there, like, I didn't see it, so it's fine. So it kind of gives it a little bit of the like, in order for me to trust you or believe you, I really need to see it for myself, because clearly you're wrong.
I don't know. I at no point do I go into a hidden room. Like, as soon as the door opens to the hidden room and I see like this blacked out thing, okay, I believe you. Like you said, there's a rape room back there. I don't need to actually, like, smell the fumes and, like, get all of the picture here. But, so, like, the idea that he goes back there doesn't tell her he's going back there. Because I feel like, it just looks ominous. So the idea that men just go into these situations headlong, like, fuck it. That doesn't exist. And then the idea that, like, there's yet another secret entrance that he pushes open and finds. And it has what can only be described as a hand-chiseled, like, stairwell to hell.
Yeah, this is not, like... So that, to me, was actually... For me, I was like, that really was the what the fuck moment. Right. Because I really don't care who you are, male, female, like...
Right.
Ex-combat, not ex-combat, like, whatever. Like, when you see something creepy as fuck that is hidden behind somewhere else with no lights.
Right.
Because this wasn't like a hand-chiseled, like, tunnel to hell that's well lit. This isn't like
built in. This
isn't like a mine with lights, you know, every so often. This is like dark. Mm-hmm. Completely dark. And you're telling me that you're gonna walk in with no flashlight.
Right.
No knife, no nothing, and just to like check it out.
Because for funsies, that's what we do with our time. I mean, especially knowing there's a rape room, like with bad intentions. Like my first thought wasn't what it ended up being, but my thought was like, the cartel owns this, and maybe others, and they come here and they do shit, and like the last thing you want to deal with is like cartel people. Like,
sure, well, you're talking about Detroit, also. This is not like, you know, the best, you know, all the good things happen here.
Right.
No. Like this, and it's in the seedy part of the town.
Right.
Like everything is super run down. I mean, even the girl before this happens gets run down by like a homeless man who's trying to tell her like, hey, don't go in there, and she's freaking out because some rando.
Why is this homeless man talking to me?
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. So once you have that established, that like obviously as soon as I saw the stairwell to hell, which is basically what I'm going to call it, the suspension of disbelief that anyone would go down there or be stupid enough to go down there is out the window for me.
Sure, but then she follows him.
Which, like, I don't care, I told you this during, like, I don't care, like, I love you, you're my wife.
Sure.
If you went down there because you were stupid, I'd be like, sucks to suck, I'm getting the police, and we can go down together after you.
Yeah.
But she's sitting there, she stands at the top of the stairs and yells down, hey, you there? Silence back. Alright, you're fucked. Just because you're dead and getting destroyed by whatever the fuck's down there doesn't mean that we both do, because we got kids to raise. Like even you, I'm not going down after you. Like, that is a level of stupid that, like, we both don't have to fucking die a stupid death. Like...
Yeah, like, I mean, even then, it would have been much more believable had they been best friends. Like, they're best friends for life, and the movie makes, you know, some kind of like, what is it called? Like, it alludes to the fact that they've been friends forever, and they're like...
And one's like doing stupid shit.
Like, what is it that ride or die? Like, oh, you're my ride or die friend, like, I can do any amount of stupid, and you'll follow me to, you know, hell and back. Like, if it had started with that kind of relationship, then I can see the, like, even the reluctance of the girl being like, you bitch. Like...
Right.
I know I'm your stupid ride or die, but, like, do you really have to do this level of stupid? And going down reluctantly, even that would have made sense. But this is like, I've known you for 8 to 12 hours.
But I have to do the right thing.
I have to do the right thing to, like, save you? Not a chance.
No, not a chance. And even the ride or die part I wouldn't do. Like, I don't give a fuck who you
are.
Die. Yeah, no, because, like, you're doing something stupid. Like, here's the thing, right? Like, if you're getting attacked by no fault of your own by the things that are down there, and I see it, and we're up here, that's not you being stupid. And I'm willing to sacrifice myself, even if, like, the odds are not in my favor.
Right.
Because I feel like, you know, I love you and, like, you know, I'm willing to do that. But, like, if you're willingly doing something that is stupid...
I'm just gonna dive into this pit of spikes here.
Right, and, like, I think that if I dive, I can catch you and throw you... No, we're both gonna die in the spikes. Like,
we're both gonna die in the spikes.
And it's gonna be needless. And, like, you're doing something utterly stupid.
Sucks to suck, kids. You're gonna be orphans now.
Right, because your mom did something stupid, and I had to do it too. Like, you know, like, she drank the Clorox, and I thought if I did it too, no, this is... No. But what... So, the one thing that I thought was a really great detail.
Yeah.
She gets down there, and he's bit and scared to death. And, like, she's saying, like, look, we just go back this way, we get out. And she's like, no, that's where they are. So, like, what makes that so scary as a piece of, like, 3D mapping is that it tells you that there are ins and outs of the tunnel that we haven't seen. Right? Like, the fact that, like, you know, if you think of the tunnel that we see on screen as a straight line.
Right.
And you start from A and you start heading towards B, and the person from B is heading towards A. And you're like, let's go back to A. And he's like, no, that's where they are. Which means that there's like circles and like loop-de-loops.
Yeah, it makes it sound like this is a very complex tunnel system that you are not privy to.
Sure.
Like now you're in the maze mentality.
Right.
Like the labyrinth and that stuff. That's scary.
Right.
Like, when you think labyrinth, you're like, I'm really screwed here.
Right. And like the people down here know it, but I don't.
Right.
But at that point, you don't know how deep it goes and what levels are. So like, to me, when you have an unknown, like you're now in the, what's the word? Like in maze, like tunnel land.
Sure.
Like the fact that you have Mama, the reason why I thought there could be sequels is like, she's like first layer of hell.
Right. And you don't know how many more staircases go down.
Because like when there's an escape later, they find the guy in bed, and then they find like the, videotapes that allude to the rape room, and then we don't see it, which I also thought was like masterful, because like there's just, we don't know what we don't know, and the more that we don't know, the scarier that concept is. And I think that if you created a sequel that's like level 2, and like you don't, like say level 2's it.
Right, because at that point you're in the like
unknown.
Well, what is it, that elevator thing where like you don't know how many floors the elevator goes up, and
right.
When the elevator drops, like you don't know how far you're dropping either.
Right.
So like all of that, yeah, for a scary movie,
I think that was perfect.
That was perfect.
What killed it for me was they escape, because of course they have to, and they have the second guy who's kind of rapey and all the things, like all the worst traits.
Right.
And
who, by paradox, was completely almost joyous. Like if he could have skipped down those steps, he would have skipped. Like that to me was actually
the best part of the movie. Because he's the only character that I believe their motivation for going down the tunnel, because he's so stupid and so full of himself and so narcissistic that he's like, this is square feet that I can sell my house, because he's like, money hungry, because he's got to pay rape lawyers for
actually raping somebody.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right.
And he's just like so foolhardy.
Oh yeah, like great. Like I'm like like he's skipping down with his little tape trying to measure like how much he has. Yeah, no, I think that's
like that was brilliant.
It was brilliant. It was like, because like you're gonna like the suspension of disbelief. There's a third idiot that would actually go down there. But you actually made someone that stupid, and then like once you buy into how stupid they are, you're like, yeah, I buy that they're that
absolutely, 100%.
But when they escape, and like you basically have Mama, or the mother, whatever you want to call her, is indestructible. She gets hit by a car, no broken bones. She gets shot, no problem. I don't remember if she gets stabbed, but like there's a scene where she breaks through a wall.
Right.
Rips a guy's arm out of his socket.
I mean, she's Terminator, is what I'm hearing. Like, which is sad to me that this happens, because she's supposed to be like, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, but she's supposed to be like an inbred retard.
Right.
Like, in actuality, not as an insult or...
And you can have retard strength. Like, retard strength is a real thing.
Right. But at no point are you Terminator.
Right.
Like, this idea that you can just arbitrarily make characters the Terminator in movies, and that, like you can just rip a person's arm off.
Because it looks cool.
Because it looks cool. Like
there was no suspense in that last bit.
Yeah, like because really at the last point, like I check out, because I checked out because I was like, basically we're dealing with the inbred retard Terminator,
right? Who eventually will be conquered. And the conquering will not make any more sense than when they couldn't conquer her, and like there's no stakes at play. Like where I thought they could have gone better is, like we've said before, like what the ending should have been is she sneaks in, she can still kill the guy, or the one thing that you said that I thought was really interesting is if she took his eyes.
if she took
the black guy's eyes, like the homeless guy who's sitting there talking to the guy. So he's just sitting there screaming.
Oh, yeah. So if she just goes on a maiming spree and just maims everybody, but like maims them in a way that they're just incapacitated and crying and moaning, because like nothing is scarier than just having like a string of like people who are crying, like just this path of destruction.
Right, and the other one that got me is he pushes the girl off of, what did we say, it was 3 stories?
Like, it's like a water tower, so the rapey guy, like, and he doesn't just push her, he grabs her from in front of him and does this, like...
He picks her up.
Yeah, like a Superman swing, and, like, swings her over. I mean, this guy is maybe, what, like, in movie standards, he's, like, 5'8" to 5'10".
Maybe 170,
yeah,
pounds,
and he's supposed to pick up an injured, crying, crawling...
Dead weight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, injured, crying, crawling, dead weight person off the ground and just, like, fling her off the edge of a 3-story water tower.
3 or 4 stories, which she falls and the mother jumps, and they both survive the fall because, like, right on the concrete, because that's a thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, we talked about, like, the whole physics of it. Like, had they landed in grass, even, had they just landed in grass and, like, you could see them rolling, like, oh, okay, like...
This is like a hard splat.
Right, this is, like, a hard splat, and there's, like, a good 2 to 3 seconds where they really zoom in on the rapey guy's face because they want him to kind of wrestle with the morality of what he just did. And the whole time, the 2 women are just, like, laying there, like, dead.
Right.
Until, oh, lo and behold, not dead.
Both fine.
Both
I mean, I feel like it would have been a more poignant ending if it just ended there.
Oh my god, that would have been fantastic. Like...
For a horror movie standard, like
that. For a horror movie standard, yeah, absolutely. Because, really... nobody wins. Especially if the black guy is crying. Like, the black guy...
He doesn't care. He's not going to go call the cops for the black homeless guy.
Yeah.
Because, like, the cops already didn't give a shit when they showed up earlier. So, like, the idea that they're going to even respond to this dude is non-existent.
So, like, yeah, so he kills the monster, he kills the innocent, and then he leaves the bystander to just, like, basically be maimed, and he just, like, walks away with...
Right, because I feel like assuming that there's more evil in the layers of the hell that we haven't got to yet, because, like, we've alluded in my version of the film where it's not the guy in the bed earlier, we've alluded to layers that we haven't gotten to yet,
which would have been perfect, because let's say that they ended the movie there, right, where he's just, like, wrestling with the morale, but, like, the best part of that sequel cut would have been the ending credits is him selling the house.
Right.
With the, like, added square footage, but not ever mentioning the, like, monster. So, like, as a sequel standpoint, this guy just sold the house, got his however many dollars to pay off his lawyer, and never mentioned...
No, nothing. That would have been amazing, because then... Like, the sequel starts with this family, this young family.
Yeah, like, moving in with no clue.
Right.
And, like
a little baby in tow or something.
Oh my god, like, fantastic.
Yeah.
That would have been...
Yeah, that's a perfect sequel.
Yes.
But, like, instead, you just made the monster so unbelievable, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And then, like, when I find out that the, like, little other... Because the other scene works perfectly if it's not the 70s. Like, if that's just, like, run down...
Oh, yeah, like, if that's just some other guy that happens to also use the tunnels to, like, fuel this helldom.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I always think that there's this one movie that I love that you'll never watch because it's awful. It's a French film, and there's this gay club where, like, they do all sorts of BDSM, whatever, and they call it the rectum. And they go in, and it's just, like, depravity, and, like, yeah, like, that's what I think of when I think of that tunnel. It's like, yeah, that's, like, the Detroit's rectum. That's what that is.
Yeah, that movie had a lot of potential. It wasn't a bad movie, like... Definitely worth watching, but you get to the end and you really think, like, this could have gone so many other ways than what it actually did.
Right, and I honestly feel like if they had just elongated the suspense of her mumbling around down there and then they get there and immediately die, and you have no idea what the fuck just happened, and it's just like the lady like crawling through the thing and like smash, like because just the idea that just evil exists somewhere to that extreme, but we're not going to explain it, is way scarier than Terminator Mama.
Yes. Yeah, because as soon as you explain it, you're done because you've lost your edge because.